My name's Alex Evans. I'm the executive director and head puppeteer at the Baker Marionette Theater. Our mission is to educate, celebrate, and rejuvenate puppetry and the allied arts. And really kind of through inspiration, and kind of inspiring imagination through children of all ages. We do hour-long musical variety marionette spectaculars, and it's about 6 puppeteers, it's lights, drops, and like when I first saw the show, it was just the most magical, imaginative thing I've ever seen. And since then, like my mission's kind of become just to kind of share that and for people to have the same experience that I had when I first saw a show. Bob Baker, when he was 6 years old back in 1930, and he was born and raised Los Angeles, he saw his first puppet show and then spent the rest of his life creating what's all around us. He did puppet shows like Liza Minnelli's Birthday, all like A Puppeteer to the Stars, and then all of this wonderful things in movies, to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, to Elvis movies, to Star Trek, like the bee's knees of puppetry, and opened the theater in the 60s, and we've probably entertained millions of children of all ages since then.
A child goes to the puppet theater, and it's the first time he's seen a show with colored lights, with music, and puppets doing all kinds of crazy things.
We truly open our doors to puppeteers far and wide, and because there's not that many marionette theaters around, like we definitely recognize our place to kind of host this unique and beautiful art, you know, across the spectrum, whether it be visiting artists or just a community to come and see the show. It's truly an honor to kind of have a space like this that we can open the doors to. People always say like, oh, dying art, or like the lost art of puppetry, and it's gonna be around far past us. Like, it's safe, and I think part of that is it's just this beautiful tool of communication, whether it be some political message or a song and dance or you name it. It's just a great medium that has so much history that you can pull from and play with. It's incredible.
My name is Winona Bechtel. I work here as Director of Partnerships. For me, the thing that's most special about the theater is that any given weekend, I'll sometimes see 3 generations of a family come in, and they'll enjoy the same experience together and just reminisce about sharing that moment of childhood across sometimes 60 years. It's amazing. Like many people at the theater, I came as a little kid watching the shows. I have a rainy January birthday, so my indoor birthday parties would always be at Bob Baker, and it was a cherished part of my childhood as an Angelino. And through the years, as I watched Bob get older and eventually pass away in 2014, I thought, how can I help? I want to keep this going. And at the time I was working for museums and thought, well, maybe I can help them out with a couple things. And that was 6 years ago, and I've been just completely tied up in it since the moment I reached out. I think the massive amount of renewed interest we're seeing lately, part of that is because of social media. I mean, we're such a bright, handmade place, which is really unique to see. I've really begun to notice that since COVID and how much time we all spend on our computers, on Zoom, kids having to do Zoom school, there's a huge interest in doing things that are just analog and in person, and it doesn't get much more analog than puppetry, and it still holds their attention just as much as a video game or an iPad. You know, sometimes they'll come in with an iPad and eventually put it down to watch the show. So I think it's just something that's so unusual and so hands-on, and people are really feeling like they need that today.
Every man this day should do his duty. Weatherby, Huskins, Green Blake Richardson.
We would not survive without support from the county. It's like, it's everything. And also, like, we don't want to be a theater that is just inaccessible by high ticket prices and there's just a barrier for entry. It's so important for all of us here to be available for the public, and we do all sorts of free programming, try and keep our ticket prices as low as possible, and that's made possible by support from the county.
That support really just keeps us going, hopefully for another 50 years. And for so many of us here that grew up in LA and call this city home, it's really a vote of confidence that what we're doing matters to the city.